What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Everybody is learning how to code. So many people are learning how to code, but they don't know how to actually turn that code into money. And that's where we come in to help you be able to turn that code into money, because you're not just coding the code. We do have, before we get into this quick fire software engineering questions, no BS answers, we do have a cohort that is coming up soon. I will put the link in the description below for you to be able to apply. It's an insane deal. It's super insane. It's 4 easy payments of $200 if you want to sign up. You're going to get coaching Monday through Friday in the evenings. That way you have time for your family, your loved ones, your job, your work, everything that you want to do, but you can get focused without having to pay that $15,000, $10,000 price tag, $25,000 price tag that these boot camps are charging you. All right, so we want to definitely do that for everybody that's following. You guys have been showing love and support, so I definitely want to be able to give back to you guys. We have people who also get a job from these programs and start freelancing, and also tech startups as well. So let's jump into it. Quick fire software engineering questions, no BS. I'm gonna try to answer these as quickly as possible. Let's get into it. So what programming languages should I learn first? First, you should determine whether or not what space in the software engineering you want to be in. So if you want to be a web developer, then identify what that is: mobile, web, gaming, and then that will dictate whether or not what you should be doing. Okay, so if it's web, which is what we focus on Dev Journey, if it's web, then it should be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then you learn some free frameworks, APIs, cloud databases, things of that nature. Let's move on. How do I start learning to code if I have no background in programming? So one thing, as I mentioned, you can join our cohort that's going to be starting April 27th, link below, and we'll definitely kickstart your journey. Other things that you can do is you can go to places like Free Code Camp if you want to learn for free. There's a whole bunch of other different YouTube videos that are going to teach you how to code. But again, it's really hard usually when you're teaching yourself, because you have to have the discipline, XYZ. But that's how you get started learning to code if you have no background coding. All right, what are the key concepts in computer science that I should understand? There are a lot of concepts to really understand within this. There's algorithms, data structures, data types, but I think the biggest thing to understand is just the pattern recognition, being able to recognize different patterns. There's even loops. There's a lot of things that you can say in computer science, but probably the real answer here is learning how to learn and having the self-discipline to be able to do that. I think that's the biggest concept before that, but once you do have that, then obviously all the things that I said, the algorithms and whatnot. So how do I choose the right projects to work on for building my portfolio? So the right projects to work on are the projects that you're passionate about. Don't pick projects just because other people are doing those projects. Don't do Reddit clones, Twitter clones, or X clones, and Facebook clones. Like all those clone stuff is corny, is real corny, is weak. You should be focusing on doing things that you're passionate about. At Dev Journey, that's why we actually help all of our students, all of our clients focus on what excites you. We have students that are working with like child protective services to make applications with foster care children. We have students that are making bowling applications, students that are making applications for pets, like things that you're passionate about, because it's gonna speak miles more about who you are and the type of developer you are, and you're gonna be excited. You're gonna wake up wanting to do those things. So that's the projects that you should be working on for your portfolio. What tools and development environments are essential for a beginner? So as we mentioned, it depends on what you're focused on. If it's web development, then it should be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you should have an IDE, which is basically like a text editor for you writing code. And so a real popular one is VS Code, and you should also be familiar with Git, and we're gonna get into that later. I think one of the questions are gonna pop up for that, okay? How do I read and understand someone else's code? Honestly, this is just only way you're going to be able to do this is with practice. You have to practice, and you have to be able to be willing to break other people's code. So you're going to have a clone of it. So just break the code and then find out what happens when you break it. And that would be the quickest way to start seeing why this is necessary and what is happening in these certain situations. What is version control and why is it important? So as I mentioned, Git, you got GitHub, GitLab, Gitbucket, GitTower. You got a whole bunch of things to be able to control the specific version. So if you're using an application, you're going to notice that it updates. right? Your applications always are updating, right? And they're updating to newer versions, right? Like 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever the case may be. They're always going to be updating. Now, if something goes wrong, you always want to be able to roll it back. And so that's kind of like what version control is. You always can go back, and Git allows you to be able to do that. How can I practice coding effectively and improve my skills? Set goals. Set tangible goals that you'll be able to reach. And the tangible goals that I would say is 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day of coding. Like, set those types of goals. I'm gonna focus on coding on my project, specifically on this area for 20 minutes. Not I'm gonna achieve XYZ goal, because if you don't achieve that goal, that specific task, if you don't achieve that, what you set out to, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. You're gonna be like discouraging yourself from doing it again in the future. But if you said like, oh, I'm gonna go and try it, I'm gonna work on it for 20 minutes, and you work on it for 25 minutes, you're gonna feel good about yourself regardless of the output, regardless of the result. You're gonna feel good about it, and then you're gonna focus on it. Like, you're gonna come back another 20 minutes or another 5 minutes, whatever your goal is. So that's definitely how you can practice coding very effectively to improve your skills and identify whatever your weak points are and focus on those in that manner. What are the most common mistakes that beginner programmers make, and how can I avoid them? So we do have a PDF, and I'm going to put that below as well, which goes over the 5 common mistakes. But I think the biggest mistake that beginners make is they try to do everything on their own. And also, while they're doing that, they try to set everything private. So they don't like to share their code because they think people are going to steal their idea, their amazing idea, and make billions of millions of dollars about doing it. So then they try to work in isolation, or they're like, oh, I'm not going to pay anybody for assistance. I'm not going to go to a boot camp. I'm not going to go to school. I'm not going to pay a coach or a mentor or a guide or whatever. I'm going to do everything by myself because I heard that there's people who do it by themselves and get jobs in 3 months. That's a mistake, because now it's going to cost you a lot of time, and you're going to realize you're making a lot more mistakes and that you're not aware of. That's the biggest thing. How important are algorithms and data structures in a real world programming job? They're actually really important. The more that you understand them, the better programmer you're going to be, because now you're understanding these patterns and these recognitions, and you're able to solve problems. They might not necessarily be always real world problems. You're not going to be doing like those hard algorithm, like in the interviews, like whiteboarding interview types of situations, but it does allow you to think a certain way for you to be able to tackle those problems. So I would definitely say that they're very, very important and very helpful. How can I prepare for technical interviews? The technical part of interviews, you'll be surprised, but a lot of interviews aren't too technical sometimes, but the ones that are, just practice them, drill them, right? Do lead code wars, but start backwards. Look at the question. If you don't know how to do it, don't even try it. Just start from the answer, break down the answer, and then reverse engineer. Start studying them, break them down into different graphs and greedy algorithms and things of that nature. Break them all down and then study them in contexts like that. What is the difference between front, back, and full stack web development? Front end are the things that you can see. Back end are the things that you can't see, like the databases. What happens when you click certain buttons? You don't know what's being sent back and forth. You can have an idea, but you can't see it on the screen. That's the back end. Full stack is both of those put together. What roles and responsibilities do software engineers have in different industries? So software engineers in different industries, for the most part, it depends. Are you a lead? Are you a manager? Like, there's a whole bunch of different roles in the sense of what you can be doing. You could be a junior engineer, which obviously you're going to have the least amount of responsibilities. And if you're a lead dev, you're going to have more responsibilities, or a senior dev, or architect, or CTO. There's so many things that you can do when you have the skill of coding. And in different industries, well, this is like kind of like twofold, because it can be different industries, meaning like you're in mobile development or you're in web development, or it can be like, hey, I'm in ed tech or I'm in fintech, right? And depending on the regulations of those industries, there's different responsibilities that you have. So software engineers must understand the business that they're in as well. So it's usually easier for you to transition into a field within software engineering that you already are currently in. So I was a teacher, so it was really easy for me to get into the ed tech space as a software engineer and leverage that and understanding of that industry as a software engineer. So hopefully that helps. How do I network effectively in the tech industry? Meetup.com. Go to meetup.com, look for all the meetups that are in your space or online, and just start going to them and start meeting people and say hi and figure out like how to introduce yourself. That's the biggest thing that you can do to network yourself effectively. What certifications or degrees are the most valuable for a software engineer? None, honestly, at this point in time. The most important thing is the skills that you have. It's kind of like I do jujitsu and, you know, there's belts, but I was a white belt for 7 years and I was beating purple belts. I was beating blue belts, right? They're higher ranked than white belts. Right? I was giving black belts a hard time as a white belt, and I shouldn't be able to do that as a white belt. But it doesn't matter. You can have a degree, you can have and be the worst software engineer in the world, a certificate, and be the worst software engineer in the world. Or you can have nothing and be the best. I've seen college dropouts. I've seen high school dropouts be amazing. And they were the go-tos at the company. So don't put your weight in a piece of paper. Put your weight in the skills that you're actually going to get. And that's what we focus on in our course, are the skills. And, of course, you do get a certification for those who really, really want one. But the value is in the skills that you gain. How do I balance learning new technologies with deepening expertise in ones I already know? This is focused on clear goal management and prioritizing your study sessions to really facilitate this, right? So if you're really good at certain technologies, maybe you can get it up and running in certain ones and then add new ones. So if you're not good with APIs, then you can start adding APIs with the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that you already have, right? And you start deepening the expertise into that. Obviously, do the documentation. Maybe if you want to take courses on it. I'm not a big fan of courses. I'm a much bigger fan of documentation, but go ahead. Or maybe perhaps getting like a coach and having somebody who already knows that expertise help you with it as well. What are the emerging technologies I should be aware of as a software engineer? Depends on the field, and I'm just going to speak for web development. And for web development, you should be aware of Next.js right now because that's booming. You should really be aware of that, and also cloud. Those two things, you should be aware of them. How can I contribute to open source projects as a beginner? Relatively easy. Just figure out the small little things that you can do. Maybe some string changes, some small data manipulation changes, something very, very small. Typos. You can even fix typos just for you to understand the workflow of being able to do PRs and get them approved and merge branches and things of that nature. It's a really good way to actually help your skill set. What are the typical career paths available for software engineers? The typical career path is so many. Once you have a skill that's valuable, you can do so many different things. Obviously, you could be a software engineer. You can be a consultant. You can start your own consultancy. You can actually also be a project manager. You can become a scrum master if you decided to do that. You can be a lead dev. You can go into management, CTO. You can teach others how to do it. You can coach. You can do so many different things. Start your own tech startup. So many career paths that are available for software engineers. How do I stay motivated and deal with imposter syndrome? Goals. Continue to set goals based off of time, not based off of tangible physical results, because if you don't meet those results, you will start to feel like an imposter and you will not be motivated to continue. And just have confidence and surround yourself with people who are confident or believe in you, supportive of you. If somebody tells you you can't do something, you need to take note of that and maybe start minimizing your contact with those individuals. Seriously, if they're shooting down your dreams, you don't want to be around them. You do not, because that isn't it's so contagious. It's infectious. You're just gonna get all that negative. You're gonna get all of it. Get out of it. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it. All right. So just know that you can do it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay. And that's our last question. So that was kind of a rapid fire. In 15 minutes, we dealt with everything. Let's go. Hopefully this was valuable for you. And if it was, definitely hit that like button, share it with a friend. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Deuces.